What's up, gang? Amanda Nybert here, registered dietitian, trying to catch you as you're sitting in bed, scrolling on Facebook, scrolling on Instagram. I don't know. They say nighttime is a good time to jump on here, and I have been meaning to do this kind of, I don't know, maybe not last part. I've got maybe two more parts to this kind of heart health series. This one has been very well requested, and that is to talk about cholesterol. So let's do it. And, you know, it's really interesting because my entire shift in my nutritional mindset and how I was teaching my clients in a hospital setting began with my own cholesterol story. So let me tell you about it. It was about 12 years ago. I had given birth to my daughter. I was about 8 months, post-birth. I don't know what it is. All right, she was 8 months old. Going into my annual visit, and was actually really excited because I had lost all my baby weight. I was eating a healthy diet. I was exercising, and I really kind of expected to get a clean bill of health. And then I was shocked, my doctor was shocked, to kind of tell me that my cholesterol was over 300. And she immediately wanted to put me on a statin. And I was like, wait a minute, hold up. How can this be? Okay, I'm eating a low-fat, low-calorie diet. I'm exercising. I'm at a healthy weight. I don't want to be on a pill for the rest of my life. And so I said, give me 6 months and let me see if I can kind of rectify this situation on my own. And luckily she said, okay, 6 months, come back. If it's still high, we'll put you on a statin. And so I left there, very confused. Because she handed me the American Heart Association diet, and I'm like, well, that's how I live, I always say I'm like a card-carrying, fat-free ranch and spray butter kind of girl, it was with me at all times. And so I started to do some research, and I came across a book called The Cholesterol Myth. And what this book ultimately taught me is that cholesterol is actually an inflammatory response in the body, just kind of like everything is. And if you can reduce inflammation, then you can reduce your cholesterol numbers. And one of the biggest things that drive inflammation in the body is sugar and lots of carbohydrates. And what I had found is while I was eating this very low-fat diet, I was inadvertently eating a very high-sugar, high-carb diet. And it was really this imbalance of macronutrients that was creating my unhealthy cholesterol numbers. And so basically, after reading this, I created a balance within my diet. I started incorporating healthy fats, okay? I started eating eggs. I started eating butter. I started, managing my carbohydrates, managing my sugar more. And lo and behold, 6 months later, I went back and my cholesterol was under 200. And my doctor was like, wow, that's freaking awesome. What did you do? And I said, I did the exact opposite of what you told me to do. And I left there thinking, I cannot continue to promote this low-fat, low-calorie, no egg, no butter, spray butter, margarine, kind of fake diet when I know for myself that it was not promoting a healthy me. It was not promoting a healthy me. And so I started to do more research, and what I found is in 1977, when the government came out with the first food guide pyramid, prior to that, our obesity rate was low, our heart disease was low, our diabetes was low, the health of the American population was pretty darn good, okay? But from that point on, from the start of the food guide pyramid, nutritional guidelines, from the start of emphasis on low fat, low calorie, before that, there was never really this micromanagement of macronutrients, It was just like eat a balanced diet. And from that point forward, our obesity rate skyrocketed. Our diabetes rate skyrocketed. Our heart disease skyrocketed. We are in worse shape than we ever have been, 4 decades later. Why is that? I don't know. Well, yeah, I know. We all know. And really one of the reasons is that imbalance, that heavy focus on one macronutrient versus the other, like low fat, low fat, low fat, eat everything low fat. And manufacturers really ran with that. And what a lot of people don't realize is that all that fat-free, low-fat crap we were eating was loaded with carbs and sugars. So like, for example, if you look at regular ranch dressing, it has 0 grams of carbs and 0 grams of sugar. But if you look at fat-free ranch dressing, it has 5 grams of carbs and 5 grams of sugar. Because fat is flavor, sugar is flavor. So if you take all the fat out, you got to find a way to add the flavor back. And they did it with sugar, with basically sugar, carbohydrates and sugars. And so at the time, we currently eat 4 to 5 times the amount of carbs and sugars today that we did in 1977, okay? The rise of obesity. And then we also eat 25% less fat today than we did in 1977. So I always think it's so funny because like the most ironic part about the whole situation is we did exactly what the government told us to do, We did exactly what they said to do to be healthy, and it didn't make us healthy. It did make us healthy. So I think it's really interesting to consider that. And it's really why, I aim to show my clients balance. It's like fundamental, Yes, we implement strategies like carb cycling where we're doing, low carb days with regular carb days. But so many people right now, in the 80s and 90s, everybody was fat phobic. All right. Everybody was fearing of fat. I remember that was when I was in high school. And, the 90s is when I was in high school. And, I remember thinking as long as it was fat free, I could eat as much as I wanted. Okay. So it was okay for me to eat a box of Snackwell cookies. Who ate Snackwell cookies? Give me a thumbs up. Give me a heart. If you loved Snackwell cookies. Okay. I used to live on like fat-free cereal. I remember eating like corn pops and honeycombs. But because they were fat-free, I thought that I could eat as much as I wanted because again, it was just this kind of emphasis on fat, and so it's really, as you're moving forward with regards to your health and wellness, you have to see everything as balance. All right. You've got to find that balance between everything. So, and that's kind of a whole nother story. But it kind of brings us to cholesterol. Okay. It brings me to cholesterol. And it was that imbalance in my diet when I cut all the fat out, me eating way too many carbs and sugars that actually impacted my cholesterol. So let's talk about cholesterol. The first thing that I want to mention, and put your questions in the comments. If you're on Facebook, click the watch party right now so that this video will head to your friends and family so they can see it. Click the share button, share it now. On Instagram, you can share the IGTV later. But here's the deal. The first thing that I want to teach you is that cholesterol in food has 0 impact in cholesterol in your body, okay? So initially, remember, eggs were bad, all right? Everyone said, don't eat eggs. So don't eat eggs, Eggs got a really bad rap because they're high in cholesterol. But what we know now is that cholesterol in the food really has 0 impact on cholesterol in the body. So that's kind of Mythbusters number 1, all right? Eggs are good for you. Eggs are loaded with choline. Most of us need a lot of that. Eggs are a great source of protein. They fill you up. They keep you full. They've got healthy fats. I am team eggs. Eat all the eggs, find locally produced eggs from quality hens. I'm all about food quality. But go get the eggs, that's for sure. Okay, so number 1. Number 2, total cholesterol is a very flawed lab, okay? First of all, it has to be done in a fasted state, okay? I had a client email me and her numbers were just like all over the place. And I'm like, because it was like her numbers before, like 6 months earlier, and then her current numbers, they were radically different. And I'm like, were you fasting? And she's like, no, but my doctor said it was okay. And I'm like, no, it's not okay. You need to be you have to be fasted. Okay. Go into your cholesterol labs, fasted, all right, to get the most accurate results. But total cholesterol is a very flawed. You cannot look at total cholesterol now and say, oh, your total cholesterol is 300, you need a statin, you need to go on a drug, okay? I'm not going to get into statins, but I highly recommend you do your research on that drug before you take it, or if you're on it. Because most people do not need to be taking that prescription. Because high cholesterol is not necessarily bad. Our brain needs cholesterol. Our body needs cholesterol. Without adequate cholesterol, we're not good, okay? More people die of a heart attack with low cholesterol than they do of high cholesterol, okay? So you can't just look at total cholesterol. So you got to break down and you got to look at all the parts of total cholesterol. So you have your LDLs, you have your HDLs, you have your VLDLs, you have your triglycerides. A lot of people it's not cholesterol, but we're also looking at triglycerides when we look at cholesterol labs. So let's kind of break it down. So HDLs are our cholesterol that we want to be high. H is for high, okay? The higher the better, all right? Ideally, you want your HDL to be over 60, all right? Aim for that. So here's the deal. I've had a lot of people that have done my lean program. For example, I have a client that I'm thinking about. Did my lean program, lost 30 pounds, okay? Is eating better than she ever has been, is exercising better than she ever has been, like in much better shape. Went to the doctor, got her cholesterol done, and her cholesterol was much higher, okay? And of course she contacts me like freaking out, okay? You're gonna email me freaking out. Amanda, what did you do to me? Okay, you ruined my cholesterol. Your whole food nutrition, healthy eating diet ruined my cholesterol. Okay, and so when I was like, send me your numbers. That's if you've sent that message to me, I'm like, send me your numbers. I want to see your before. I want to see your after. We got to look at them too. And so what happened is that her HDLs had significantly risen, okay? Had gone up like 50 points. I'm like, this is good, okay? Your cholesterol went up because your good cholesterol went up. And it was really funny because her doctor didn't even acknowledge that. He's like, oh my God, your cholesterol's gone up. What are you doing? You need to stop doing it. Not even looking at the fact that it was her good cholesterol that went up. So HDL is high. We want that number to be high. Okay, over 60 is where we want it to be. Exercise, physical activity, healthy fats are the best way to increase your HDL. Okay, the second lab that I think is most important. Okay, actually, I think this lab is more important than HDL, but the next lab that you really want to look at is triglycerides. Okay, triglycerides. So triglycerides, good is 150. All right, great is 100. Okay, if your triglycerides are under 100 and your HDL is over 60, research shows that your opportunity for cardiac event is extremely low, regardless of your total cholesterol number, okay? Regardless of your total cholesterol number. So you really got to zero in on those two factors, all right? So when you go to the doctor the next time and you're looking at your cholesterol, I want you to focus on what's your triglycerides. Now, I've seen people with triglycerides of like 800, 900, like that ain't good. Like that's really bad. When your triglycerides are high, you should be way more concerned than when your cholesterol is high, okay? What impacts triglycerides the most? Carbohydrates and sugars. Now, anytime that I say that, people are like, oh, so those low carb people are right. Those keto people are right. I can't have carbs. No, that's not what I'm saying, okay? What I'm saying is that excessive amounts of carbohydrates and sugars are what's going to drive your triglycerides, not fat, okay? Fat does not negatively impact your triglycerides, okay? If it's in the presence of sugar, yes, it will, okay? Yes, it will. So here's the deal. I'm gonna ask a question, and I ask this question a lot, so I feel like all of you are gonna know the answer, but let me know what you think the average American eats in regards to carbohydrates on a daily basis, okay? If you consume the standard American diet, how many carbohydrates would you eat? Put it in the comments, okay? Put it in the comments. What's going on here? Okay, good. Just checking out all the technology. Let me see what you guys got to say. All right, so when we start talking about managing your carbohydrates, we're like, we don't want to be that, okay? We don't want to be that. Okay, here they come. 400. Lois says 400. Jennifer says 450. Krista says 350. At least 500, 500, 350 to 400. 1,000. I love that one. 400 plus. 400 to 500. Okay, so you guys know. I mean, because you listen to me. I say it over and over. Yeah. So the average American eats 400 to 500 carbs a day. That is excessive. That is too much, okay? And I know you may be sitting here going, how's that possible? You know, there's no way you can eat that many carbs. Oh, it's possible, okay? You know, drive through the fast food, get a large sweet tea, that's 75 grams of carbs, add a Big Mac, large fry, there's 250, 300 carbs, and it's just 11 o'clock. We're just getting started, okay? So carbohydrates add up really quickly. Okay, so if you're eating the standard American diet, you're eating way too many carbohydrates and sugars. And one of the things that I really try to teach in the Lean program is the fact to not fear carbohydrates. So most women can consume 150 to 200 carbs a day and still lose weight and still have healthy triglyceride numbers. Okay, men 200 to 250. All right, and that's what it's all about. It's about creating that balance. Getting out of that all or nothing mindset where you're either doing no carbs or you're doing all the carbs. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, so triglycerides, under 100 is what we're aiming for. 150 is good. HDLs, over 60. Okay, that's what we're going to look at. Now, a lot of times when our cholesterol is high, it is because of our LDLs. Okay, so LDL, L for low. We want our LDLs to be low. But it's not that simple, okay? So whenever someone has a high LDL, I will usually, again, look at those two numbers. Listen, your HDL is really good. Your triglycerides are really good. You probably don't have much to be concerned about. But if that LDL scares you, you need to get an NMR profile. All right. And that's going to break down the particle size of your LDL. Okay. Because if you have really large, fluffy, big, bounce off the artery wall LDL, you're good. All right. If you have really small, dense, kind of clogging LDL, that's not good. All right. You need to make some lifestyle adjustments. So this NMR profile will really break that down. The volume of small versus big LDL. And the goal is to have a lot of big, fluffy LDL, okay? So that's what I typically say to clients that are still just like, I don't know, very concerned. So take it a step and look at all of those numbers, okay? So when we look at cholesterol, you have to understand it's just kind of one marker. It's not the end all be all, okay, of like heart disease. You know, you've got to really look at everything. You've got to look at your blood sugar control. You've got to look at your insulin sensitivity. You've got to look at your, lifestyle factors, your activity, your daily activity. You know, I talk about sitting is the new smoking. You know, are you getting up and are you moving around? Recognize that it's a combination of everything together. So let me know what questions you guys have about cholesterol, how to interpret your labs, what you should be looking for, what additional labs that you should ask for. I actually give a resource to all my Lean clients, and it is my suggested annual lab work. And maybe I'll share it with you guys as well. But it just kind of runs through just some of the basic labs that you should be following and you should be getting on at least an annual basis to kind of, just check in with your health. Katie asks, what's a good LDL number? Well, like I said, that's relative, you know. I mean, we want them to be under 100 with LDL, 150. But like I said, if it's high, but it's all big, fluffy LDL, it's not that dangerous. It's not that detrimental. So you really kind of have to go down into the nitty gritty. You know, we can no longer say that, you know, your cholesterol needs to be under 200. It's just not that simple. Okay. And again, like I said, you know, using drugs that lower cholesterol is showing to cause more harm, you know. People that use statins are more at risk for diabetes. They're more at risk for kidney issues. You know, again, we need cholesterol in the body. So suppressing cholesterol is not a good thing, you know, like we thought it was. So it's always good to, again, do your research and just make sure that, you know, you're well informed before, you know, you just jump the gun over one simple lab. Cassie says, do you recommend a keto diet for better cardiac care? Heck no, I don't. I mean, Cassie, where did you just join us? Yeah, it's about balance, you know. If you're eating way too much fat, then again, we need balance. We need carbohydrates, we need fats, we need everything in moderation. You know, I'm not totally opposed to keto, but keto is not a consistent lifestyle. Like the only proper way to keto is you got to cycle. You got to keto cycle. You know, you do keto for a couple of months, then you got to bring back the carbs. I mean, the body needs carbohydrates. So, you know, no. And for me, keto is not sustainable because I like margaritas. And so that drops you right out of ketosis. And I think that a lot of people are doing keto in a really unhealthy way, you know, living on bacon, eggs, and cheese. I just don't think is really good. I mean, I do think that there is, you know, healthy ways to, you know, do keto, and then there's unhealthy ways. But I think in the long run, you should be looking for balance for sure. So, all right, guys, I hope this was helpful. Do your research. I will put in the comments, just your, you know, a lot of people are asking, what should your numbers be? I'll throw those in the, description of this video so you have those to look at. I'll tell you what labs you should be looking at: total cholesterol, triglycerides, NMR profile. You know, get the works. Make sure you're well informed when you're looking at those numbers. All right, focus on balance and you know, do all the things. Do all the things. All right, guys. Happy Wednesday. I don't even know what day it is. All right. I will see you later. Talk to you soon. Bye, guys.